massage therapy. SerenityNowMassageAndWellness.com, with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
Hi, this is Josh Wadobe. Join me Thursdays at 4 p.m. for Dollars and Cents, a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4, here on WSIC.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, my friend Margi. How are you?
I am good. I'm feeling a little better.
You know, we were talking before the break, before the show even began, about the kindness factor that just doesn't seem to be out there anymore.
It's missing.
I know. So what are we going to do in this next hour to make hope happen?
We are going to interview a fabulous man who has a very interesting story, and it started with one of his family members, and he turned it into a beautiful business.
I cannot wait to hear it. I know that we were chatting a little bit at the beginning of the show, and we were
And
kind
again,
of
it sort of goes back
joking
to
around.
he couldn't get the service he wanted for his brother who was moving on.
Yeah.
And so he decided there's a hole there, so he filled it.
I love innovation. I
Yeah.
love people when they come up against a frustration that they provide a solution.
That's right.
And this is what I've been telling staff and everyone in my life these days. Please bring me a solution.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we've listened for so many years here through the COVID of like pivoting and doing all of that stuff. Let's just be solution focused.
Well, and you know, I went to on Saturday. Nina had her party.
Yeah.
She's got the right attitude.
What was that?
Well, she serves everybody food, a beverage, and gives everybody a hug and welcomes them. And how can I help you? And it's just such a pleasant experience.
It's kindness, right?
It is.
We need to put that back. We
Yeah.
talk about all the time about putting hope back in the headlines, you and I, and how we do it with a smile. And I think maybe we need to revisit that movement we talked about months ago about getting people involved in making hope happen and becoming solution focused and finding happiness again.
I found happiness when I was going through a lot of old papers.
I walked in here, and of course, we're on baby watch at the O'Hanley house. So we'll know a little bit more tomorrow, but we are possibly looking at an induction next week. So you came in here and you handed me this spectacular special bulletin, and I would love to read it to our listeners.
Please do.
It is.
It was written by my father.
Marguerite's, or AKA Margi's, birth announcement, which says the baby manufacturers established since 1936 proudly present their 1943 baby glamour girl, Marguerite Rayner, at St. Joseph's Hospital. And it goes on, it's a victory model, and we were able to complete our production schedule on time due to our AA1 priority rating. The finished product left the assembly line at 3:19 a.m. Due to the scarcity of certain critical materials, this model is non-ball bearing. I love it. The production manager, designer, engineer, and technical assistants. And then it says at the very end, the management wishes to announce that due to the high cost of labor, there will be no new models for the duration. Our personnel will devote their entire time now maintaining and surviving the two models. I love that. I love a sense of humor. I love that probably tickled some people when they got that.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think that, Miss Margi, you have been making a presentation since day one and leaving your impact that you have on the world. And so I value and appreciate this, and I will be sending it henceforward to the folks outside of D.C. who will probably get a laugh out of that too, because it's a little stressful time.
I can imagine.
Yeah, well, just tad stressful, but you know
Well,
what? You give it up.
Yes.
So we talked about that today. Surrender.
Well, I mean, if my daughter had said, "Mom, you can't come see my new baby for a month," I don't know what I would have done.
You know, I live my life by this principle. It says control the controllables. Only control the things in your life that you can control. The others, you just have to give it up. Whether you are a believer, give it up to God, or whether you believe in whatever it is that you believe in, there are only so many things that we can control. We can't control the weather. We can't control other people's reactions, but we can control a lot of things in our life.
Like when I'm going to get on an airplane and get there.
Absolutely. So we are just giving it up, and I'm going to control what I can control. So how about that hot weather this weekend? It was summer all over again.
It was.
Bizarre.
Way too hot.
But it was hot. It was hot. And I think, the last person to jump in the lake, because I said, I'm going to be the last person to jump in the lake. So I jumped in the lake. My son was visiting for the weekend, and he's like, why are we the only two people in this big, beautiful lake when it's 92 degrees out?
Yeah.
But I think we're turning a corner. We're anticipating some crazy wild weather here with a cyclone / tropical / potential hurricane. So to our listeners and folks and friends in Florida, I hope that they are batting down the hatches.
I do too.
And getting ready and being prepared and taking it very seriously, because I know it's scheduled to impact us about Thursday or Friday. So
yeah.
What else you got? The Dino Open?
Yeah, we're getting ready for a golf tournament.
Okay. When is it?
And it is October 14th.
Okay.
At Northstone again. And it's in honor of Dino DiNicola, who was president of Little Smiles for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost him very suddenly.
Yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful day that I hope people will come out.
If people are interested to register,
and I know
sign
Bill
up,
has the picture.
I see it up on the screen now.
Good.
The
Okay.
Dino Open, it's always, you know what? Somehow Dino is watching down and always makes for beautiful weather.
Yes, he does.
You always have a great day there. I'm going to try to get out this year. I won't play golf because it does not bring out the lady in me. I do not say nice things when I swing a golf club.
It's slow for me.
Yeah. Whoever thought putting a little round ball in a little round hole made sense?
I don't know.
The skill and dedication and patience is just not on I can't control that. So that is one of those things
That's
I
right,
gladly
yeah.
give up to those that can control. It is not a ladylike sport for me. It's not it doesn't bring out the best in me. So I will come and I will come out to support you. And, of course, we know Dino. He's from Pittsfield, where my husband is from. So they knew each other. And great guy. Great
Beautiful
impact.
man. Beautiful man.
And he still continues to give back through
Yes, he does.
this lovely golf tournament that you do. So I wish you much luck and good weather with that. What else is going on?
My daughter's coming in on Thursday. I cannot wait.
daughter.
Yeah,
Yay.
cannot wait.
Yay.
So,
Any special plans with her?
I want to go give her, and this is, I guess, special for my kids. They want signing privileges on my checking accounts.
Oh, wow. That was pretty subtle.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So, no, we're just going to have a good time, and haven't seen her for probably about a year, so it'll
Aw.
be very special.
Where's she living now?
New Hampshire.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I remember. She's getting out before the winter comes
Yes,
in New Hampshire.
yes.
Fabulous. Well, I know that we got to give a shout out to the McIntosh Law Firm for being a proud
Absolutely.
sponsor of us. We are delighted that they are on board supporting us, helping us make hope happen with a smile in our community, with the wonderful care they give our community with law services. So, McIntosh Law Firm, thank you, Mr. Robert McIntosh. And also, I am excited to meet our guest. We're going to come up on a
he's
break
wonderful.
here.
Yep.
Wait till you hear his accent. You're going to think you're watching Outlander right here in our Cornelia studio. And we're going to have a lot to fill you in on. So make sure that you're listening and you're paying attention when we come back on Community Centered with Margie and Debbie. We'll see you shortly.
Community Centered, presented by McIntosh Law with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle, will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, a good amount of rain possibly on the way this week with a couple of different systems coming our way. A mix of clouds and sun. We'll get warm today into the low 80s around Lake Norman, but keep an eye out for a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially as we get into the afternoon and into the evening. We'll fall back down in the upper 60s overnight into our Wednesday. Chance for scattered showers and storms. We'll be watching the Gulf for soon-to-be Helene. The Potential rain and wind impacts through the Carolinas by the end of the work week. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The app with Lake Norman deals. The WSIC app is out now, wherever you get your apps.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The village is open all day long for shopping and dining, with Hey Ladies taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. This Saturday, the Tabo Walk begins at 2 p.m. in Old Town Cornelius. Join the area's premier arts and music festival and get ready to experience Lake Norman's most action-packed and fun-filled community celebration with plenty to do for the entire family. Festivities include 2 stages of live bands and entertainment, local artists, craftsmen and vendors, local breweries, multiple food truck courts, a petting zoo, kid zones, games, giveaways, and so much more. The Tabo Walk begins at 2 p.m. Saturday in Old Town Cornelius. Northview's Stars Ministry presents a fundraising carnival for children and adults with special needs on September 28th. The carnival begins at 11 a.m. Saturday at 2615 Amity Hill Road in Statesville with free admission. There will be food, activities, and fun for the whole family. Please help raise funds for children and adults with special needs Saturday at the Northview Church of Christ in Statesville. The Breakaway Carolina Music Festival returns to ZMAX Dragway this Friday and Saturday, bringing a party like no other. The festival features 2 days of music, activities, and much more, beginning at 4 p.m. on both days. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details for the Carolina Breakaway Music Festival this Friday and Saturday.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Jousting, knights, mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Macintosh Law presents Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. I have a very special guest. We have a very special guest today from Homewatch CareGivers. And I met Martin Conway at a hospice meeting. And we started talking. And I want to play the video that's on your website because it sums it all up beautifully.
Hi, my name's Martin Conway. I'm the owner of Homewatch CareGivers of Mooresville. About 6 years ago, my younger brother passed away after being diagnosed with ALS. And with the love, support, and patience of family and friends, slowly was able to rebuild and begin to move forward. Part of the process of rebuilding for me was a reflection on how fragile life can be and how things can change in a second. With this in mind, I walked away from a corporate job after 15 years because I wanted to contribute in a far more meaningful way in my community. Some of the caregivers who took care of Tony in his last months were among the bravest, kindest, and most loving people I've ever known. Where some people saw disease, they saw a human being. And where some people did not even want to look because it was too painful to see, others leant in and treated him with the dignity and respect because despite the disease, he was still a human being. So, while we cannot bring loved ones back, what we can do is work hard to take care of each other and to take care of those in our community who are in need. So with that in mind, I opened Homewatch CareGivers of Mooresville recently with one mission, and it's to be the premier in-home care organization in the Lake Norman area. What we do is provide customized in-home care to make sure that your loved ones, your family, your friends who need a bit more support or care, whether it's due to disease or due to old age, we are here to help and we treat them with the respect and dignity they deserve. My team consists of registered nurses, social workers, CNAs, and a qualified and professional group of caregivers. If your need for in-home care requires a certified nursing assistant, we can help. If your need for in-home care requires some assistance with daily activities and to help keep a patient safe, we can help. And if your need for in-home care requires short-term assistance after a surgery or a procedure, or just trying to balance professional and personal responsibilities while also caring for a loved one in the home, we can help. Bottom line, whenever your need for in-home care arises, we will be here to help. Please reach out when that time comes. Take care.
When I first met you, I could just feel the love that you have and the passion that you have for this. You saw a need and you filled it. And you've done a spectacular job. You've added to this, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is, I think, fairly new, where you've got some equipment you can put in the home and watch from the home instead of having a caregiver there all the time, which I would love to get into in a minute or two. But what were you in the corporate world? What were you doing then?
Thanks for the opportunity to be here. It's very interesting listening to that video.
Okay.
It's still hard. It's still
I'm
fresh.
sure it is. That's why I thought I would do the video.
No, thank you so much for the chance to be here. I worked for a pharmaceutical company for about 15 or 16 years. Began that career in Wisconsin, and then we were fortunate to move down here in 2008. My wife and I, and our youngest daughter at that time, we moved down here in 2008 to Huntersville. So this area's been home since 2008.
Good.
Yep.
Well, we're glad you're here.
I knew I liked you the minute I met you, Martin, because we have something in common. I too lost my brother, and I always say to people how fortunate I was to have his passing, because it created an amazing journey for me, and I know of which you can probably relate to that. Although it's sad to lose someone that we love, and especially a brother, when there's good that comes out of it, then it was purposeful. And so to hear and meet you today, to understand that you are fulfilling a need in our community, delights my soul, because I know what that experience must have been like for you. And to put grief into action is one of the most humbling, commendable things that we can do. So what a beautiful character you are. And thank you for doing what you do. I mean, I was watching the video and it was recalling my pain too, and thinking, gosh, if this were only available for him during that time, what a wonderful thing that would have been. So I'm anxious to hear your story, and I want to hear the good that you're doing in our community. So take it away.
All right, thank you. Thanks again for giving me the opportunity. I miss my brother.
Yeah.
And when you go through that sort of situation, whether it's a husband or a brother or a son or a daughter, it humbles you. And one of my mentors tells me the longest journey is from here to here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what he tells me all the time.
Boy, that's a good one.
Trying to process the grief of losing Tony as a brother and trying to be there to support my parents who buried their youngest child, a whole other dynamic, right?
Yes.
That they still live with on a daily basis. So trying to work through that grief and that anxiety, and then the guilt. Why Tony? Why not me? Why did he get ALS, not me? We grew up in the same house, ate the same food, made the same questionable teenage choices. But why Tony? So that you just have to process that. And then ultimately, with the strength of my parents, my wife, and a huge support network that was very patient with me as I worked through this grief.
Yes.
You're able to come out the other side, and you're never the same person. But you mentioned in the first segment there, you can only control what you can control. So what's the next best action? And as comfortable as it may feel sometimes to sit and mope and get a blanket and watch a Lifetime movie and eat a tub of Neapolitan ice cream, it's not really going to get it done long term, is it?
No.
So
sure is good though.
Well, now and again, I'm prone to some Neapolitan. That's my guy right there. But ultimately, it's about what now? What can you do now? And sitting on the couch is not going to honor my brother.
Right.
How long has Tony been gone?
It was February the 20th of 2015.
So how does one go from a pharmaceutical sales to developing a business to coming up with a plan and to then put it into action while you're grieving?
Yeah.
Yeah. After Tony died, trying to reconcile my perspective of the corporate life, there was a disconnect.
Absolutely.
There was a fundamental disconnect. And I had a great experience in the corporate world. Phenomenal, smart, dedicated, good people. The Martin post February 2015 was not the guy from 2012 or 13 or 14. It changed me. And ultimately, when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't continue to engage and pull a paycheck from a career that I wasn't fully invested in. I could have sat there in the comfort zone and given 60 or 70% and pulled a paycheck and been comfortable and still been wrestling with this battle between head and heart and honoring my brother and trying to find meaning. But I couldn't do it. So
You Scots are so brave and so courageous, and I think that says something about your character. What is that movie that Braveheart? That's you, Braveheart. Because I can't imagine, having gone through it myself, what it must have taken to pull that off, to make that commitment to say, you know what, I'm going to use this to fuel myself, to fill a void in our community for something that's missing in honor of my brother. Well done, Braveheart. That is really something that I hope our listeners are really taking very seriously when you hear the story and the foundation.
Oh, when I first talked to him, I could not believe it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So tell us now about the business. What is it? How do people get in touch with you? What happens?
The business we put quality caregivers in the home. That's what we do. We fundamentally want to keep people safe, engaged, and as independent as we possibly can for as long as they possibly can. We understand our role in the whole, providing care, kind of spectrum of care. We understand our role. So that's what we're doing. That's what we choose to do. So Homewatch Caregivers of Mooresville, and now we've expanded down into Charlotte. So that's what we do. I absolutely love it. And yeah, we're developing a new line where this whole virtual technology, AI, is kind of scary to me personally.
Yes, it is.
You can type things in and all of a sudden things happen and you're like, is that real? Who did that? What's going on with it?
Yeah.
So, but what we're trying to do is, what can we as an organization do to make sure we are providing the best quality care possible? Okay. And that means provide customized plans and do what we say we're going to do. We have dedicated care teams for Alzheimer's, dementia, COPD, ALS. We're building all these out. So when you put someone in a home, it's not just a smile and a name badge. I'm here to take care of ABC. We need to make sure these guys are committed and they are prepared to go in. We work very closely with Mitchell Community College, and their CNA is a phenomenal program over there. And we get lots of our CNAs from Mitchell Community College. And then we're working with some of these other local organizations just to position ourselves as a resource. What we find in our research and talking to people is that if this patient here, Sam's got 4 or 5 different providers taking care of Sam. Some of these providers are not talking to each other. So Sam and his family are trying to navigate, well, did the neurologist talk to the primary care?
Yeah.
And I've got my other doctor over here, and I've got my social worker. And then I go to this group, like, who's talking? Who is connecting people? So that's part of the push for the technology, is to see what we can do, not to be intrusive, but to help position ourselves as a solution, so that for seniors who want this and their families who want it, we can do these virtual visits and we can connect the doctors with the families, with the caregivers.
Solution focused.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do, is just, so we understand our role. It's non-medical in home care, so we can do the ADLs like many of the other great companies locally. They're all fantastic, right? But this is something different that we are trying to do to make sure we are positioned.
If I'm not ready for in-home care.
Absolutely.
That would be, but I'm taking a shower, and I like that monitoring system, that if the water's running too long, you'll get notified.
Absolutely.
Or, if something else happens.
Absolutely. It's going to be a solution for some folks. Now, some are not going to be comfortable, and that's okay. But again, go back to customized. What Margie wants may not be what Debbie wants, what Martin wants. So that's what we want to position ourselves. And when it comes to the remote kind of access, we can do brief 10-minute visits. Did you take your medication today?
Yeah.
Miss Pamela? What's that behind you? Are you okay? Get up and stand for me. Just want to make sure you're okay. All right.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure. And those 10 or 15-minute visits, we can get eyes on the person, connect them with their providers, communicate with the family. Hey, we saw she's okay today.
Hold that thought, because we're going to go to break. But I have a question and a comment to make when we come back, because I've got something that I want to say. So pretty soon we're going to be here. In 30 seconds, we're going to go to commercial break, and I hope that our listeners will stay tuned and stay engaged with Martin and his story about what he's doing to make a difference in our community. When we come back, we'll be chatting with Martin from Homewatch Connect.
There's more Community Centered, presented by Macintosh Law and hosted by Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle, on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, a good amount of rain possibly on the way this week, with a couple of different systems coming our way. A mix of clouds and sun. We'll get warm today. into the low 80s around Lake Norman, but keep an eye out for a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially as we get into the afternoon and into the evening. We'll fall back down in the upper 60s overnight into our Wednesday. Chance for scattered showers and storms. We'll be watching the Gulf for soon-to-be Helene. Potential rain and wind impacts through the Carolinas by the end of the work week. What's your forecast? From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville is known for their prices and selection, but I tell you what, you may not have known the distinction that this store received with Ford and Lincoln this year. We received the President's Award for 2023 for Ford for the 5th year in a row. We also received it for Lincoln for the first year, and I tell you, those awards don't come easily. It all boils down to taking care of the customers and having the vehicles you want in stock for you to buy.
Family, quality, value. With a legacy of excellence for over 40 years, Horn Heating and Air Conditioning will make your house feel like a home. Welcome home to the feeling of HornHVAC.com.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshlawFirm.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Home prices still rising, hitting a fresh all-time high in July nationwide, but prices that month rose just 5% from a year before, slower than the 5.5% increase in June, according to S&P CoreLogic, a sign that skyrocketing price growth may finally be slowing. New York had the highest gain, up 8.8%, then Las Vegas, then Los Angeles. On Wall Street, some modest gains today, a lot of hopes for more rate cuts this year from the Federal Reserve. Even though consumer confidence fell by the most in 3 years this month, a lot of worries about jobs. Right now, the Dow is flat, the NASDAQ up 0.5%, the S&P 500 up very slightly. The Justice Department has filed a lawsuit accusing Visa of illegally monopolizing the U.S. debit card market, penalizing customers who try to use rival payment processors. And Holiday Inn Express, which says it serves 28 million pancakes a year to hotel guests, is now out with a line of pancake suits. Flapjack-inspired streetwear like hoodies and sweatshirts. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Community-centered, presented by McIntosh Law, a staple in our community since 1997, returns now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Community Centered. I'm your host, Debbie O'Hanley, with my friend Margi Kyle, and we are having a delightful show today with our friend Martin. Martin, what a story. You've really, I know, plugged on my heartstrings here.
When we talked a couple of months ago,
you're bringing a lot back for me. So we were talking about the business and what it is that you provide, and then there is this amazing video thing that you have, which we'll talk more of. But I just wanted to say, you know, my mother is 86. She's in care at Williams Place. So people say, oh, well, you don't need a video monitoring. You have FaceTime. So I will FaceTime her, and generally it's on the inside of her ear or her nostrils. Or if I say I can't see you, then I'm looking at the ceiling or the floor, and I never arrive at what it is that I need to see with her. So I'm curious to hear all about this innovative process you have and something. So tell us about that, Martin.
Oh, first of all, I have similar challenges with my 17-year-old daughter, trying to FaceTime her. I end up looking at the ceiling or the floor. I'm like, are you there? And she shouts from 10 feet away. So we have similar challenges.
Yes.
So the product sits on top of the TV. The person in the home has complete control over that, which I think is an important factor here. Because I was talking to Margie before, when you think about it through the lens of maybe your mom, lots of stuff has been taken away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So what we're doing is trying to make sure that we provide that balance and the option for them to remain connected and in control. Now, so they have complete control over opening it and closing it. It doesn't work unless they click the button to say yes, no. So there's lots of kind of steps in there where they maintain control. The device literally sits on top of the TV and plugs into the back. That's all it does.
So one of the things that we call her a button pusher. She loves pushing buttons, whether it's the remote, the air conditioning system, or whatever. So we've tried to get her some poppers and some spinners that my friend Margie here has contributed to it, and it's just not the same thing. I find them in her closet tucked away because it's not the same as being able to command things. And so you really put it in just the right frame and perspective when you say that they have control of that, because it does seem intrusive, right?
Yes.
Like I know even at Hope House, we have video monitoring cameras there of our residents for safety reasons. Yeah. And like when the fire department came on Sunday because a little 1-year-old locked himself in the bedroom and we had to have the fire department there to unlock the door. We were glad that we had those. So I love that there's that piece of it too. But tell me why, if someone's listening, why would they want something like that when they're caring for someone and they're not there in the flesh? I know why I would, but what are some of the reasons why you thought this was important?
At Homewatch, we talk about 3 or 4 different things, and I'll mention one of them now. We talk about results. Okay, what outcome are we actually driving towards? That's what we're driving towards. That's the key, is the result. It's not about what Homewatch wants or somebody else. It's what does Margie want? What does Miss Debbie want? What does Justin want? So this just gives folks, when it comes to that customized option, it gives them the option of doing this. Where we have seen success is that folks want a caregiver to come in on a Monday and a Friday, and then we do a remote visit on a Wednesday. They maybe don't need 12 hours a week.
That's
they
right.
don't need that.
Yeah.
So this model where it's X number of hours and we do it regardless, that doesn't work for everybody. That may work, but it doesn't. Why are we spending time and trying to commit to someone going out for 2 hours and charging these folks, I think, a kind of ridiculous rate for a 1 or 2 hour visit when they simply need, make sure they're clean, make sure their medications are taken, get eyes on them, sit and listen. If they want to engage and talk about their grandson, granddaughter, we'll sit and do that.
I think it's
brilliant. We'll sit and do that.
I do
But
too.
why are we doing these long visits when we don't need to? If somebody simply needs the medication reminder, needs us to put eyes on them because their son, daughter lives in New York, okay, well, we can do that. And the first couple of times we do it, the caregiver's in the home. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're just leaving these folks to figure it out themselves.
That's right.
We set them up for success. And then we roll from there.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I'm thinking, we've been talking with my mom about the new great-grandbaby coming, and she's like, oh, and I can go to D.C. and visit her. And I was like, probably not, but how wonderful would this be to have a product like that?
That's
where
right.
We would bring it to her. So I think it's brilliant, to quote a Scottish.
Well, thank you for using the word brilliant. I don't often hear it in Lake Norman. And when I use it with my kids, they look at me like I'm foreign. And I say, well, yeah, I kind of am. So we'll own it.
It's brilliant. You should take it,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. So again, I'm going back to thinking about, you're sitting around, you're deciding you're going to leave the corporate world, and I'm going to create a business plan or a business model, and it's going to look like this. Was that challenging? Was that something that you recommend to someone? What was that experience like?
It was almost like you have to completely reinvent yourself and think, who am I?
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest. I mean, I don't want to say I stumbled through life, but all of a sudden I get to the point where my younger brother is over here taking his last breath, and I'm thinking, oh. And then that humbles you, and it makes you realize how small, and in some ways how small and insignificant we all are, and how we are vulnerable to any moment can be any moment. It can
What
be,
a
and that's
beautiful tribute to him.
Absolutely. And
What you created.
I think when we have an experience like that, our feet suddenly touch the ground, right? Because most days we just float through life. We're angry we didn't get a parking spot at the Harris Teeter. We're angry that the light didn't change or that the toll lanes or whatever. But when you go through a monumental, life-changing experience such as losing a loved one, your feet now touch the ground. And you know you can reflect back and say, here's my purpose. Here's my intention, and here's what I have to do, because what we recognize is we all come with an expiration date. There's just no explanation for it. So you hit the ground running.
That's right.
With an innovative idea and process that really is a loving tribute to your brother. And I think that he's probably thinking the same thing. Well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for the kind comments. There's lots there. There's lots there. I love my brother, and I think it's humbling, and grief doesn't end. It just kind of changes, as you know. It just changes. Yeah. And what Tony's passing did for me, it softened me. It softened having trying for a third child the year before. Well, we did, and we were fortunate and blessed with twins. So we had girls.
Careful what you wish for.
Right. So trying to reconcile Tony's disease, Tony's imminent passing, trying to make sure affairs were in order and his wishes were honored.
Yes.
And then some of the other challenges, families, people are emotional when it's hard. And he had 2 young daughters, and then my wife delivers 2 beautiful, identical twin girls in October. Tony passes in February. They have no recollection of him. Yeah. They have one picture where Tony is towards the end, and they're a big bundle of 3-4 weeks old.
Yes.
So we're driving them to Virginia. It's just those memories now. You just realize that what this is about. It's not the car. It's not, okay, your team lost today. I'm sorry. It's okay. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. It's just being kind to each other, loving each other, and showing grace as much as you can, because at the end of the day, we have an expiration date, as you said, and you don't ever know when that is. And I think one of the lessons for me was that I always expected that Tony and I would live and be grumpy old 85-year-olds, complaining about the kids at the park or whatever it was.
Sure.
And he passed away when he was 36.
Yeah.
And so it just softens you. So.
My brother was 36 too. And I had a baby right before he died too. So I'm like, it's crazy. But I don't think there are any coincidences either in this world, right? I mean, he came, he fulfilled his purpose, and he continues to fulfill his purpose in honoring his memory through this beautiful business that you have and this innovative product, which I think is incredible. So I think, what's next?
What's next? We're going to continue to do the next right thing. That's number one. We're going to continue to focus on delivering the result that the people we serve want. If they want to sit and watch Gunsmoke and have a grilled cheese, we will sit with them. We will watch Gunsmoke. We will have a grilled cheese. We're working with lots of local communities who are inquiring about the services that we're providing, not just the in-home physical aspect of the care, but the virtual and the remote. We're having lots of inquiries about the remote sensors we have, because that's another angle of the technology, is that it's not just the ability to put eyes on folks in the home. We have these sensors so that if those sensors, identify the person is laying on the floor, okay, we can be on that in seconds.
I love that.
So it's almost like a heat map, and it sounds intrusive, but truly it's not. It's simply about identifying if we see changes in behavior or movement that are concerning based on the care plan or the medical providers or the family, we can identify that and be on it quickly. So there's lots there. So we're going to continue to do the next best thing, the next right thing, and just serve those. And just keep moving forward.
Back to technology again, too.
We have to go to break again. We're flying through this. We always have such amazing, interesting people, and you are by far one of them. When we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can get your contact information out there, how people can contact you.
And please call in if you have a question.
Yes, you can always call the studio at 844-STUDIO-4 if you'd like to talk to Martin, if you have questions, or if Margie and I are here to help answer anything that you might have. We would be delighted to take those calls. We'll be back shortly.
community-centered, presented by Macintosh Law, a staple in our community since 1997. We'll return on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, a good amount of rain possibly on the way this week with a couple of different systems coming our way. A mix of clouds and sun. We'll get warm today into the low 80s around Lake Norman, but keep an eye out for a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially as we get into the afternoon and into the evening. We'll fall back down in the upper 60s overnight into our Wednesday. A chance for scattered showers and storms. We'll be watching the Gulf for soon-to-be Helene. Potential rain and wind impacts through the Carolinas by the end of the work week. That's your forecast. In the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The village is open all day long for shopping and dining, with Hey Ladies taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. This Saturday, the Taba Walk begins at 2 p.m. in Old Town Cornelius. Join the area's premier arts and music festival and get ready to experience Lake Norman's most action-packed and fun-filled community celebration with plenty to do for the entire family. Festivities include 2 stages of live bands and entertainment, local artists, craftsmen and vendors, local breweries, multiple food truck courts, a petting zoo, kid zones, games, giveaways, and so much more. The Taba Walk begins at 2 p.m. Saturday in Old Town Cornelius. Northview's Stars Ministry presents a fundraising carnival for children and adults with special needs on September 28th. The carnival begins at 11 a.m. Saturday at 2615 Amity Hill Road in Statesville with free admission. There will be food, activities, and fun for the whole family. Please help raise funds for children and adults with special needs Saturday at the Northview Church of Christ in Statesville. The Breakaway Carolina Music Festival returns to ZMAX Dragway this Friday and Saturday, bringing a party like no other. The festival features 2 days of music, activities, and much more, beginning at 4 p.m. on both days. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details for the Carolina Breakaway Music Festival this Friday and Saturday.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Just ignites mermaids, fairies, dragons, oh my! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Call 844-STUDIO-4 now to join the community center discussion on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Presented by Macintosh Law.
Welcome back. This hour is just flying as I knew it would. I knew the minute I met you, Martin, that I just had to have you on, that Debbie would enjoy you as well. What you're doing in the community is unreal. How do they get a hold of you?
Easiest way is to call the office, 704-503-4660. That's 704-503-4660.
Okay.
We have a website too, homewatchcaregivers.com, and you can find us out there. And Dr. Google can help you as well. So just search Homewatch Caregivers on Google, and these guys know what they're doing. They'll point you. They'll find us.
So we were talking a little bit about your Scottish heritage and your Scottish culture there, and shout out to all the Outlander friends that are out there. And my daughter was joking one day last week. They are such fiends of this that they were going to name their baby girl Sasquatch. I said, I don't know. Is that a bad word?
No, it's not. And for full disclosure, my wife is a huge Outlander fan, and sometimes I feel like there's a third person in the marriage, Mr. Jamie or Jimmy, as he goes.
Jimmy.
So yeah, my wife's a big fan of that show, so we enjoy it as well. But Sasquatch, no, I think it's just a term that the English and Scottish use to poke fun at each other. You know, if you're a Sasquatch, you know.
Well, I think that Mr. McIntosh, who owns a McIntosh law firm, would enjoy meeting you. And so I'm going to personally, on his behalf, invite you with the Highlander Games to come and introduce yourself to him and see what his tent has to offer at those Highland. Have you ever been, Margie?
No.
To the Highland Games?
No.
You've got to go. It's really very interesting. It's all things Scottish, from tartans to tartan kilts and bagpipes, and they compete in games throwing of telephone poles and
Oh
eating
my
of
gosh.
Scottish eggs, and really, it's really a joyful experience.
Uh-huh.
And you come with us next time,
Okay.
Because you'll enjoy the Scotch too, my friend.
I haven't had a Scotch in probably 55 years.
Oh, well, you never know what trouble you can get into at the Highland Games for sure.
Mm.
Well, again, Martin, congratulations on creating a product, creating a business, creating, I think, an idea and a vision, and for putting.
Well, that's going to help so many people in the same situation that you were in.
Well, and I think what's so inspiring is putting your grief into action.
Yes.
And, I sometimes like to think of heaven, right, is where I believe that, this is earth school here. And when we don't begin to live until we get to heaven. And when we're there, I'm picturing your brother Tony. Maybe he's with my brother Jeff, and they are up there applauding you today with such enthusiasm because my brother Jeff was a joker and he enjoyed a good Scotchman too. And so I think that what you're doing for other people of giving of your heart and creating something that is important is so amazing. And I just want to congratulate you for doing that and your whole family, your wife and your children as well, because I know it must be like a family business and everybody's involved in it. And I know for one that I'll be reaching out to you after the show myself because there's a personal intent here too, but just congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you for the opportunity to share. Thanks for listening. And I think we all have stories, right? Your story matters. Our stories matter.
They do.
And the way I was raised in Scotland, it's just the way that it was. You just get along, do your job, move on. Don't make it, just don't talk about yourself too much.
What was that like to go from Scotland to Wisconsin?
It was interesting. It was interesting. I was born in Scotland and my dad was a police officer. So we eventually moved to London, the outskirts of London when I was 6 or 7. So I've spent actually more time in England than I have Scotland. But moving from England to Wisconsin was a challenge. I played college soccer and landed in Green Bay. And I asked the college, can you send me some information on Green Bay? Like, what's that like? Because I had no idea. I'm from, so they sent me a Green Bay Packers schedule, a picture of the Green Bay Packers. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I like sports, so I don't know who these guys are. So then we landed in Green Bay, and I was landing, and I'll never forget, it was like a 16-seater plane from Chicago O'Hare. You connected London to Chicago to Green Bay. And I landed in Green Bay, and I'm looking out the window of this small plane, and I didn't do well with planes at that time. And I'm looking down, and I'm like, it looks really dark. Is there a power outage? Must be a power outage. There was no power outage. It's just a quiet, small, beautiful town that I came to love and enjoy, and nothing's happening unless the Packers are playing.
Winter.
It was, right? It was.
It's Antarctica.
But landing there, I felt absolutely like a fish out of water, and going into the stores, you don't recognize the products. Go and turn it on the TV, you don't recognize the guy who does the weather for you or the news. It's different, and there's some of the terminology is different. So I felt very exposed and vulnerable for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Truthfully.
No McVitie's and no Lucozade.
Oh, my mum packed me with McVitie's and some really unhealthy British candy that, we got through customs.
And you probably could have used some Lucozade on that plane, I'm sure.
I definitely could have used some Lucozade with something else possibly just to get through that flight, yes.
What a culture shock that must have been. And I had the reverse. So I went from America, New York, to London and felt like a fish out of water there too. And I thought, well, this isn't going to be so bad. I speak the language. I did not. All of the things were very different. The language that I didn't have a clue. And being in high school, that was not a good time for me.
No, that's a tough time.
It was really a tough transition. But I completely relate. The food, the culture, everything, the language was just so very different. But wow, Green Bay. It wasn't even like New York City or Chicago.
Right. But over time, what Green Bay taught me was it taught me like self-reliance. Again, you can sit and have your Neapolitan ice cream and sit and watch The Price is Right or some, veg out on some show, or just one day at a time. And my support network up there was fantastic. And what it's given me is a tolerance and just an understanding that people are different.
Absolutely.
Whether you drive a pickup truck or an SUV, whether you have this color skin or that color skin, or this church or that church, it's all good.
Yeah.
Just do your thing.
Can you run for presidency? It's not too late. We can get you in under the gun here.
You got about 5 weeks.
I think your attitude is brilliant because it's exactly what it is. It just doesn't matter. We just need to be kind. Go back to the beginning of our show where we talked about what kindness looks like and getting people back in touch with that. We've lost touch.
Yeah, we absolutely have.
With that. We really have. And I think we need that. And caring and compassion, and your business is all about caring and compassion. And I'm delighted, Margie, that you chose to have Martin with us.
Yeah.
It's been very eye-opening and
Well,
very...
it wasn't even a question after I talked to him.
Yeah. You know, in the homeless network that I'm in and the organization that I'm involved in, you know, we bring a lot of people into our home who are looking for employment. And most of them, if not all of them, are in the home health aid business. And in fact, the things that I'm learning about it, right? Like one young lady that had been a med tech in New York for over 25 years, but came here to North Carolina and realized she needs to be certified now in order to do that business. So she said, well, I'll just change careers. But they all, and it's interesting, all of them that have this experience, and it's almost a phenomenon, I'd like to probably do a little study about it myself, about why they end up in the home health care field, having experienced homelessness themselves. So I don't know what that is. I just think it's really a very interesting thing. And if I have someone who I think is qualifies to work for your organization, I'll definitely send them your way. But we have some lovely people that we're caregiving for as well that are in that field. So I find it phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
It is.
And I have 2 that are studying to be nurses right now that will take their nursing test soon. And I have a phlebotomist who I am moving in today at 5 o'clock. So looking forward to meeting her and her 3 children as well. So this is a field that I'm in by happenstance through the organization that we run. So we're caring for them as well.
Yeah.
We're caring for the caregivers.
You are. Well, thanks for what you do.
Yeah. Who cares for the caregiver? Right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you have to do that. It takes a special breed. I know when I was getting my social work field, someone said, oh, you're going to go into elder care? Not. So I applaud you very much for doing that. The same as you probably wouldn't want to touch what I'm doing. So
Well, thanks for what you do. And you touched on something there, caring for the caregivers. And that goes beyond, it's something we've spoken about as an organization. Don't tell people that they're really valued and then pay them less than the hourly wage, the living wage, right?
Yeah.
That's a complete disconnect.
That's
And I
right.
say that to all the caregivers that come in and sit across the desk and talk about looking for a job. They should expect more. They should demand more. Okay, so don't accept less than what you are worth.
I
do not, and
absolutely
they need to be. And we find that if you connect with people, you tell them the truth, you
Mhm.
pay them a living wage, you tell them a good job when they do a good job,
Yeah.
you correct it respectfully if there's an opportunity, for improvement, you correct them, and then you invest in them as people and invest in them as individuals. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
That speaks to people's hearts,
how
and
to
that's
support
honoring
that. Yeah.
that's honoring people. I'm honoring my brother who wanted to love and bring people
Yeah.
together. So it's there's a lot there. So thanks for what you do. And
I have an idea. We need to talk.
Okay.
It just came to me.
Good.
So it's kind of a very special day for us at Hope House in that well, if you want to call it special, 1 year ago today, we lost one of our very significant donors and people who supported us. And she was in the healthcare field and supported that. So I have an idea. We can talk about it and then we can see what my board would think about that idea because I would love to bring honor to her name.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah, on this
There's
special
no
day.
better way.
Yeah. So I got an idea. These are how these things happen, like right in the middle of a radio show. It's like, yes, that was a great idea. So, Margie, what's on tap? Where are we going? Where are we going with this besides doing good in our community?
Yes. And sharing all the people that are doing so much to make a difference in this community.
I love it. I love it. I think, again, Martin, I hope that people, let's give that phone number one more time.
704-503-4660.
Okay. Give Martin a call, or you can always
Yes.
call the studio here at 844-STUDIO-4 if you need to. If you had a last-minute question, we'll be happy to get back it or get the question to Martin.
Yep.
So that we can get that. Otherwise, have a great week. We will see you here next week on Community Center.
I can't wait to see if you've had your baby.
Me too.